Hello, sixth grade. What we're going to do today is we're going to continue our conversation about the end of the Roman Empire. However, we're going to start shifting gears to what I mentioned the other day, where we're going to start overlapping with the rise of early Christianity. So we're kind of on the downward slide of the Roman Empire, which we talked about. There were multiple reasons why it went pretty much downhill. Anything from having way too many emperors over the course of 50 years to having to pay off soldiers to lack of education and on down the line. So, what I have here to start is I have two halves of a timeline. I have the top part and then I have the bottom part. And if you notice, it starts from the year one. So, the year zero would be about right here. And it's going to go from the year one all the way to the year 600. Okay, now I start with this because I just want you to notice something about this timeline, and that is how Christianity, in the eyes of the Roman Empire, is going to shift over time. So, to give you a hint about how that's going to look, you have things going on like the year 30. Around the year 30, Jesus begins preaching. Okay. And then 3 years later, the Romans, as we know, execute Jesus. And even further down the timeline here is if you go about 30 more years, it says that Romans actually outlaw Christianity. As well, later on, the Romans are going to force Jewish people out of places like Jerusalem. So, to begin this conversation, you all can see that the Roman Empire is very focused on not having people be really into their religion as opposed to being really into the Roman Emperor. So, they really want those folks to honor the Roman gods, especially. They want them to honor the Roman emperors, and they feel like they're getting distracted by people like Jesus or other religions such as Judaism. So they're not really big fans of any organized religion because that takes away from their gods and from their emperor. Now, if you notice on this bottom part here, some things are going to start to change. So you have actually a Roman emperor, Constantine, who's going to accept Christianity. Now, granted, you go from the year 64, where Romans outlawed Christianity, to the year 312, where this Roman emperor actually accepts Christianity. And even further here at 392 AD, Christianity actually becomes the official religion of Rome. So we've gone all the way to executing Jesus, outlawing Christianity, and we've jumped all the way ahead to Christianity becoming the official religion of Rome. And there's a lot of things that go into that, obviously, but that's what we're going to talk about here real briefly today because it's going to be you all's job to figure out what you think is kind of the reasoning for some of this. So I'm going to jump ahead and I'm going to show you two things. This slide, first of all, is part of your assignment for today. So on this slide, you see some kind of random images, you see some random pictures. All five of these have something to do with the spread of Christianity. Obviously, during the time of the Roman Empire is still where we're talking, but the spread has something to do with each one of these images. Now, your job is going to be to find out how these images individually go with the spread of Christianity. So, what do these images do, or have to do, I should say, with the reality that was going on at the time? Okay, so in order for you to find out that information, here's what I've listed in here. I've gone ahead and taken two screenshots from the book because this is where the information is pretty much pulled from. And I have part one, which was basically page 380 out of the book. And I have part two, which is just the top uh, small paragraph from 381. Okay, and I just labeled them part one and part two so you know that they do go somewhat in an order here. But what you all are going to do is on your own, you're going to read both of these parts. And from these parts, your job then in your notebook or on spare paper, again, in a Google Doc, whatever you want to put this information on is fine with me. But you're going to go back to these, and for each one of these, you're going to come up with a reason or what you think is a reason that it goes with the spread of Christianity. So when you see this peace sign, when you see this road, when you see this path, when you see this guy with a speech bubble, when you see this positivity or this security badge, there is something to do from what you read on these paragraphs that goes with why Christianity spread so much over time. So, in order to do that, I'm going to include this actual slide with your instructions so you can actually just read it for yourselves, or you could honestly just pause the video and read them as it is right now. So, again, you're going to go back, and for each of these 5, I want you to come up with a reasoning that you think it helped the spread or represents the spread of Christianity. And the only way you're going to really be able to answer that is by reading this all the way through. Okay, so again, technically speaking, that's only going to be 5 answers, but they need to be really clear and they obviously need to come from the reading. All right, so good luck trying to figure these out. Obviously, we'll talk about them in a little more detail here coming up. But for now, I want you all to just take a solid guess and give me a good, complete sentence thought for each one of these on how you think it represents what was going on with the spread of Christianity. All right, good luck, and I'll talk to you all very soon.